Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ray, and welcome to the very first episode of the This is the Ray podcast. I'm so excited to have you guys on here, whether you're watching on YouTube or any of the other podcast outlets that we're going to. And I'm not listing them right now because I'm not sure which ones we're going to. I'll be honest with you. We have been putting in all kinds of work over the last several weeks as a part of this Respawn Recruits competition where we're grinding real hard trying to become partners with Respawn products. I will say this. I have no intention of ever being like a product shilling zombie drone kind of person, but companies like Respawn, who I have been purchasing from for years, when they're giving me an opportunity, I'm excited to represent companies I already use. This is like my fourth or fifth Respawn chair that I'm sitting in right now. I believe in their products, so we're excited at the opportunity to become partners with those guys. So as a part of this competition, man, they've really challenged us over the last 6 or 7 weeks to get out of our comfort zones and to push things as hard as we can. You've already seen us rebrand ourselves from from Fam Squad Mucks into unifying everything under our This is the Ray branding. This is the first time as a content creator in this space that I've gone full out and like kind of made the brand about me. So the whole thing's been new, and I'm really, really excited to get this podcast launched. And you might ask why. Here's the reason why. My history and my background actually is in podcasting and media production back from like 100 years ago, 2009, 2010, back when Twitter was still called Twitter. There was no X, and Elon wasn't involved even a little bit. Most media outlets like ESPN and the Washington Post or even ABC referred to Twitter and Facebook as new media. New media. It wasn't even called social media yet. And we ran a very successful blog and podcast and became digital media partners with the Washington Redskins, who are now not even the Redskins anymore. They're the Commanders now. NFLPA certified, worked with tons of NFL players, tons of NBA players, did podcast production for other people, built networks, did all that thing. And then, went to be dad full time and have careers and all that kind of stuff. And so now I'm really excited about bringing this back. Here's the deal. This opening podcast, is going to be a little bit different than the normal format. And the reason it's going to be different is because I want to give you guys like the full experience right up front to let you guys know what you're looking for. As we grow this thing, it's going to take a little bit of evolution, a little bit of shape changing, but we're excited for you guys to be on this journey with us, to take this ride with us and to see kind of how it's going. There'll be times that the podcast will be me and some of my homies that you guys see in our streams, like Boost or Dragon or any of those guys. But I'm always going to try to bring in people that can tell great stories, that can be entertaining and can bring value to you guys as our watchers, our listeners, all that kind of stuff. And I could not be more excited if I tried about the guests that we have for our very, very, very first episode. I was joking with him a few minutes ago as we were kind of going through pre-production on the show and said, you wanted a banger first episode guest? Well, I got you. So do me a favor, help me welcome my guy. You know him from TikTok and social media and streaming all the place. It's Damn Daniel Games. What's up, Daniel?
What up, dude? How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm freaking doing good, man. I'm excited to be back behind the microphone doing the whole podcast thing.
Well, I want you to be the first to know that this is my first official podcast ever.
Well,
never done one of these before.
Well, you know what? Maybe we can do it really good and we can do a couple of them together.
You know what?
We'll make it a regular thing.
Yeah. Listen, I'm kind of a big deal now. People know me, man. So dude, you got to reach out to my people.
Well, you know what though? The question that I have though is, do you have your white Vans on?
I do not have my white Vans. I'm wearing some chanclas.
That's where it's from, right? Like it's got to be. That's where the name comes from.
I've been working around a lot of names for a long time, and I got tired of using like these aliases, like some unnecessary gamer tags are so ridiculously long. You're like, I don't know what the hell to do. So I went ahead and just said, I'm just going to stick to my middle name. I'm Puerto Rican, so I got like 12 names. So I was like, I'll just pick one. So I picked my middle name, and then I was like, damn Daniel, and boom, that was it.
It's so funny because the more we talk, the more I find out that we have in common. I'm not Puerto Rican, even a little bit, if you didn't know. My family is Italian, and my grandfather, or my pop-up as we called him, who unfortunately passed during COVID 2 years ago, he also had like 12 names. And his name was Ronald Larry Charles Julius Constantino Siricchio. And so I am familiar with the multi-names situation. So you're in good company, brother.
I also grew up Italian though.
Oh,
I'm not
so
Italian, but I grew up Italian.
Italian Rican.
Yep, my stepdad who raised me is half Italian, half Puerto Rican. So I was in a pretty good household.
That's awesome. Lots of good
Yeah.
food. Lots of
Lots of good
carbs.
food.
Pasta and beans.
Bro, I suffer from that now.
I want to get into your story. Your story
Let's
to
do
me is incredible. I came across you on TikTok, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't even follow you at first, but you know the TikTok algorithm. You spend like 5 seconds on somebody, and then they show up twice, but then you keep watching it, and then they keep showing up, and you became like a must follow. And then it was one day, it was like, how am I not following this guy yet? I just noticed that the plus symbol was still on your name. I'm like, how am I not following you? And like, you're super engaged with your viewership when you stream. You've been super gracious and answered some questions for me here and there. But this space, for me, as someone that came from like a more quote unquote traditional media, sports broadcast media, news media, international broadcasting TV kind of person, the space for online streamers is changing the game. And the only evidence that you need of that, and I don't care if you're a fan or not a fan, or I don't care if you guys are, I'm not political. It's not what I do. But when Tucker Carlson left or was forced to leave Fox and has now transitioned into what he's doing on Twitter, it is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
The numbers he's doing on Twitter dwarf traditional broadcast television. And we're looking at cable companies dying because everyone's cutting cords and doing all these things and everything's transitioning. We are blazing the trail in content creation. We're changing the game, whether it's gaming related or people that are just chatting or they're coming on doing sports podcasts like what I did. I really believe that it's shifting a lot. And I want to talk to you about what you're seeing in that marketplace. But let's start with you, man. Like, give us your story.
At first it was OOH damn Daniel. Well, at first I tried to have damn Daniel. But then TikTok was like, well, we don't like that because you're using the word damn. I'm like, well, it's just the word damn. Like,
even though there was like the giant meme.
Yeah. Even the giant meme. Even though the giant meme was circulating, it was still just couldn't do it. So I did the OOH. And people are like, well, I don't understand what that means. And then it switched to it's damn Daniel. I was like, all right, that's cool. And then I was like, you know what? Can I do damn Daniel _ games? That works. Now I get my first name and then I get my last name. But for the longest time, I didn't know where I belonged. I did a sympathy video on where I joined somebody's stream. They asked me how I was doing, what I was up to, and I was legit honest. I was like, hey, I'm about to start streaming, and they jumped down my throat like, you can't say that here, you can't do that, it's unbelievable, how dare you come into my stream and tell other people that you're streaming.
That's like, so whack.
First and foremost, you asked me what I was doing, and I told you what I was doing.
Yeah.
If you didn't really want to know what I was doing, don't ask me. So I made a video like that, and that did really well. People liked it. So I was like, wait a second. They like sympathy stuff? Let's do something else. So I started doing that, and then it died out. And then I just like couldn't find what I wanted to. So I tried to do some trend videos, and then tried to do some educational videos. But what I didn't realize is that TikTok's algorithm wants one specific style of content.
100% it does.
It doesn't want this, that, and this, because now it doesn't know where to place you. So this channel, I was like, all right, one specific content. I like playing Call of Duty. I'm a needle in a haystack, but I like playing it.
And that haystack is large, my friend.
Oh my
God. It is the biggest haystack in the whole freaking world.
The end, like after the end credits of Men in Black, where you got the aliens throwing, like they're playing like some marble game, but inside that marble is like a galaxy.
Yeah.
Imagine you being in that marble against all these other marbles with giant galaxies on top of a haystack with needles in another haystack.
And we're the marble in that marble. Like
correct. Inception.
It's
100%.
everywhere. It's everywhere.
I was like, all right, well, how can I be different? So I started doing tutorial videos on like, what's the best gun? And when I say I did the research, I would go in and I would watch videos and I would watch contests. I would look for stats. I would do this. And then I started just talking about it. And then I started like acclimating my style of like art and how to put it into place. And I didn't know where I was. So I did this video did good. Then the next video didn't do good. And then that video did great because I used this hashtag. Dude, it was exhausting. So I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to just double down on my style and just keep pushing it. Now, it didn't do good. 2 years in, and I'm only getting maybe like, I'm close to like maybe 6,000 followers on TikTok. And
Okay.
I'm like, what the hell's going on? I don't know.
I'm
what
gonna tell you right
doing
now, I'd be excited about that.
I was, but you got to remember, you're doing 3 TikToks a day, plus streaming, plus a family, man, plus a 9 to 5. It's a lot. And you're like, well, I should be here, but I'm here. Other people that started beef after me are up here.
Yeah.
So what am I doing wrong? So one of my boys, Blue, you know Blue Thunder?
Yep.
Blue Thunder Gaming?
Yeah.
He is huge in the community. Huge. I'm talking about, he is the example of what you should be as a creator when it comes to creating like TikToks and content like that. And he was like, okay, you're doing this, change that, create a new TikTok account. I'm like, what? Yeah, he goes, create a new TikTok account. See how that does.
And that was recent. This is
content.
recently, or this was before?
So this was 2 months ago.
Yeah, okay, recently. This is when you went from, because your original TikTok account, which I know you said is like kind of a dead thing now, but it was that was just It's Damn Daniel. And I remember when you announced that It's Damn Daniel Games, and I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to tell you very specifically, because I walked through a little bit of this rebranding stuff recently. Someone in the Respawn Recruits thing had told me, like, because I started asking questions, man. Like, I want to learn from people. Like, I know that, like, cool, it's competition. Like you said, people jump down your throat because you can't say that you're streaming when you're on their stream or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I've been asking everybody that I can talk to, like that I've met through this competition, like, hey, how are you finding success? This is what I'm trying. This is what's working for me. This is what's not working for me. This is, you know, whatever it is that's going on. And one of them said to me very lovingly, they were like, I don't understand your brand. They're like, I also don't understand, like, your gamer tag when you play is RD421. Your Twitter is This Is the Ray. Your TikTok is Fam Squad Mux. Your Twitch and
You're
your
all over
YouTube,
the place, dude.
It's all over. Like what is it? And I said, well, for like kind of my career, my day job, I've always felt like I needed to like hide behind a brand. You know what I mean? And my Twitter, even though like my name is on my Twitter, I did this. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, so it was just my take on This Is the Way, because my name's Ray.
This is why we get along, you and I, so well.
Yeah, and so like This Is the Ray 100% is a Mandalorian rip. And it kind of took off, and when people, because like I didn't think it really mattered, because no one actually pays attention to your @ because you can make your name like whatever it is. And a couple of my friends saw the @ they're like, that's great. And someone said, like, why don't you just rebrand everything? And I was like, I'll think about it. And then I saw what you were doing with your rebrand, and I was like, oh man, like maybe there's something that's to that.
Changed.
Someone told me lovingly, they were like, well, how long have you been TikToking? And I said, well, I think my account's probably since COVID, like 2021. And admittedly, I wasn't posting regularly I don't think I even posted for like the first year. I was just kind of scrolling. And when I started posting, I've gotten up to like 200 200 followers or 205 followers or something. And, I've got a couple of videos that popped off. One's at like 65,000, one's at 30,000. For me, those are great numbers. And they were like, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but if after 3 years, that's what you've done, TikTok has already choked you out. You need to start over. Like, don't try to keep it in this channel. Just start completely over. And so I did that, and the competition also challenged us to do something new. So it all just really lined up, and I was like, do something new TikTok, all the things. And so I rebranded everything, and legitimately, part of it's because of you. Part of it's because of what I saw you do, and then hearing you talk about it. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you. Oh, thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
I'm glad I am starting a trend. Everyone that asks me, what are you doing? I'm like, start fresh. If you hit a valid point. I actually looked at my TikTok. I was stagnant at 3,000 plus. I had 4,000, but it dropped. So I gave you the wrong information for the first TikTok. But
who cares?
Rebranded.
Who cares?
Yeah, well, I rebranded, and I was so afraid because I was like, well, I'm playing a game that's supposedly dead. I've been playing this game since it first came out. I loved it. The story arc, the color, the style of the game, the atmosphere, and the cinematography that brought this game. For me, it's all about a story and cinematography.
Yeah, for sure.
If I can be captivated from the very beginning of the game, I'm not putting the game down until I am done.
Yeah.
And I tried doing that with Starfield. I couldn't do it, dude. I couldn't do it.
Dude, you know what's so funny? I love so much about that game. Like, legitimately. The score is legendary. The score is so good. The art style of it, and I know this isn't saying a whole lot, but it's the prettiest Bethesda game, and like by far, it's the prettiest. But Bethesda games are like the ugly girl at prom. Like, they're not pretty.
Here's my issue, though. Here's my issue real quick, though. the stationary camera when you're talking to somebody, there is no feeling there. You know,
it's so
you were
sterile.
talking to an AI.
Yeah.
You were talking to a stagnant AI that doesn't do anything. I'm sorry, a stagnant NPC that doesn't do anything. And you're just like, let's have a conversation. I'm not romancing you. You're like a blow-up doll. I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
it's not happening.
You know what's so funny? I've literally had 3 conversations this week because I've been talking about Starfield to people, and they're like, "You should stream it. You should stream it." And I said, "I don't know why I'm not comfortable streaming it. Like, I don't feel like I can stream this game, and some people might be able to. And I think it might be what you just said. It's that complete dead eyes of the conversation. I think the gunfighting is fine, like the exploration is great and all that sort of stuff. But I think it's the moments where I know that I'm going to be interacting and reading with this nothing. I think that's what I'm afraid of.
There's no feeling. I tried streaming it live, and when the game first came out, I did it on TikTok, and it did great. People watch. I had about, I don't want to go crazy with it, but I had about 60,000 people watching.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 60,000 people watching.
Dude.
And that's what like took my TikTok off with the Starfield stuff, and they were watching it. But as soon as I went to Cyberpunk stuff, it just skyrocketed, dude. Like people, I don't care what game you play. It could be the worst game in the world. I think it has a lot to do with you and
I agree
how
with that.
you interact with the people.
Yeah.
And you make everything fun. I just couldn't make Starfield fun. I tried, and people were like, well, what's better, Cyberpunk or Starfield? And I'm like, here's a perfect example. I'm jumping into the water. If I am Jesus, then this would work really well in Starfield, but I am not. And why am I walking on top of water?
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I would critique the game based on the same critique that Cyberpunk got.
Well, Cyberpunk had a really rough launch, man. Like it was bad
for PS4 people.
Yeah, that's true.
PS4
and Xbox.
people.
And Xbox. It wasn't good on Xbox either. I had it on Xbox.
You're right. But if you had a next gen console, you're fine. Stop complaining. Play the damn game. Romance Pan Am. Get it on, and you'll fall in love with the game.
You get this rebrand in mind. You jump in. You go all in on Cyberpunk, which again, dude, like that took some guts to do that. Cyberpunk, like I mistakenly said a minute ago, it launched terribly. It was a glitchy mess. I was so excited for it. It was the game that it's the whole reason I got an Xbox Series X. I had a PS5 and a Series X both at launch, and I was like believing all the hype. It's going to run Cyberpunk fine. It's going to be great. And it was so broken.
Honestly, I didn't have any issues though. I think I am one of the rare people that had no issues with Cyberpunk.
I had people that were like halfway hanging out of walls, and like you'd try to shoot them, and it would like not shoot the guy in front of you, but they would damage the person behind them. Like it was just.
I didn't care about stuff like that. Here's the thing, and I look at games. It could be the shittiest broken game out there, but if I'm captivated by the story, I want to see what happens next. I'll deal with it. It's just, I paid for a story. I know that games like this, these are campaign style games. They're story driven games. So
I get it.
I'm okay with not being able to do all the other stuff as long as I get to do what I paid for it to do.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I get that. I get that. It's funny, and I'm not gonna like take more time on this, but like, I had a bunch of people talk me into Skyrim, and I'm not like a fantasy dragon person at all.
Yeah.
Like that does not scratch my itch even a little bit. Like I don't watch Game of Thrones. I don't have like any like I don't care about
that stuff, but Skyrim wasn't my thing.
And dude, I loved it. It was the first game like that I'd ever played, and when I got it, I bought it on PS3. I bought a used copy from GameStop so that
for like $10, right?
No, I bought it it was like $40, but here's why I bought the used copy. Because if I had 7 days to return the used copy if I didn't like it.
That?
Like that's
remember
like
when it was 30 days though?
No, I don't remember that.
30 days?
No.
Yeah, it was 30 days when he first dropped it.
No, I don't remember that, but I remember having 7 or 14 or whatever day it was, and I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to give my wife and kids had gone out of town for the weekend. Well, my wife, and I think it was just my daughter at the time. I don't think my son was even born yet. My daughter was like a baby. And Skyrim came out, and I was like, I'll try it this weekend just so I have something to play over the weekend while everyone's gone. And I loved it. Yeah. Everywhere. Yeah. There's just like Domino's boxes sitting in like the floor. You know what I mean? Like it just, I loved it. And now again, it completely broken in places. It's Bethesda, man. Like there's parts of it that are just so janky and messed up. But I'll never forget the first time that you go like towards Whiterun in that game. and
Mhm.
it's like a very colorful fall foliage, and you come around the corner and the mountain reveals and the sunlight's like shining through
Yes.
the freaking tree limbs, and you hear like that legendary
cinematography was awesome.
the music playing, like that main Skyrim theme is, and I was like, I don't want to leave this world ever.
It was awesome, right? And then
It was great.
You head down to the village. You got the river to the left. Right?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
my mic. You got the river to the left. You're in the village. You're looking around, and you're like, "Wow, this is pretty detailed."
Yeah.
Like, look
Yeah.
at the ground. You see your shadow.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're in a whole new world. Then you get Starfield. No multiplayer. I think
Yeah.
a game in 2023 should have cross-play multiplayer capabilities. I don't care what game it is.
100%.
That's what
That's
that's what I think.
agree with you more. So you started making this content. You started going into Cyberpunk. We talked about the fact that you kind of took a risk. In my opinion, you took a risk. Now, maybe not as much of a risk to you because it's a game that you loved and you knew that you could find the way to kind of sell it. But like that game was pretty dead when you started 2 months ago making content about it. And had they even announced Phantom Liberties at that point?
No, they have not. I didn't even know about Phantom Liberty until like my third TikTok video where it hit like 150, and Blue was like, "Bro, he made a TikTok about my content. He made a Twitch comment about my content, how it's Cyberpunk." And I swear to you, the next day they started talking about Phantom Liberty. I'm like, "What?"
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Sometimes, you know.
Oh, I was like, "What happened?" So I was thinking for the longest time, how do I acclimate my style of creating Call of Duty videos to Cyberpunk video? And Cyberpunk and Call of Duty have a lot of similar things. First and foremost, it's a first-person shooter. Second of all, it's if you play the campaign for Call of Duty, it's a beautiful game. It's detailed, everything there. So Cyberpunk's the same way. So then I was like, well, how do I do this like motion with the guns, and then I do this, and then I do that, and then I have my outro catchphrase. Like I did the research, so you don't have to. And I'm like, wait a second.
I remember that.
Let's look up. I'm typing on my keyboard. I'm like, best weapons in Cyberpunk. I was like, holy shit, 500 videos on best weapons in Cyberpunk? Next page, another 500. I'm like, wait a second. How many people have been making videos for this game? I didn't even look it up. I just like, I want to make content for this. So then I went on YouTube and I was like, the best research you can do is something that's already been done.
Yeah. And
people are like, well, aren't you copying? No, you're not copying. What you're doing is you're making it yourself.
You're educating yourself.
We are, you, myself, and so many other people are just a recycled version of somebody of another creator. We're just evolving. And what I did, I was like, okay, well, I want to make it mine. So how do I do this? So I watched a lot of videos, and a lot of videos had no talking. And then other videos had like the talking, but no exact details on how to get to where you got to get. You just follow the map and then do this. So I was like, wait a second. Let me go back. Game Informant magazines. Let's go back to like old school magazines that you pick up at GameStop, tutorial game magazines. You follow the map, you make a right, you make a left, you go up the street 500 feet, make another right, you'll see it. And I was like, okay, here we go. All right. Are you looking to upgrade your weapons? I'm like, yeah.
I messed you up. Dude, you got to do it again. I talked over you. I don't like, this is the magic sauce right now. I need to hear it clean. You got to do it again.
All right. Are you new to Cyberpunk 2077? You're trying to upgrade your weapons? Well, I gotcha. And then from there, I was like, all right, I'll do that. See if it works.
And now there's t-shirts. There's merch.
There's merch. There's merch. And people like, every time I stream, people are like, do the line. I'm like, holy shit, dude! Should I just like autograph some papers and just post them for sale? Like, do you want it? Like, let's do it.
It's funny. It's funny how things catch on like that. But the reality of it is, like that, it became your deal. And when we're
such a simple thing, it's such a simple thing that people don't realize that your personal life, because this is how I am on my daily. I'm like, I have other catchphrases. I'm like, oh, that's fancy. And I use these lines all the time. People like, and they starting to repeat, oh, that's fancy. I'm like, yeah, that is. Yeah. You're right. So I just, I just kept focusing on not changing what I've done. All I did was change the content. The formula stayed the same. If you feel that you're doing something good and you like what you're doing, don't let anybody else tell you to change it. Don't. Just keep doing it. It might not catch on. Eventually it'll catch on, or it might never, but you'll never know unless you put it out there.
But you're true to yourself. My opinion on that. Well, let me ask you this. We talked about this a little bit in the pre-production meeting. Player 2 Gaming, he's also killing it on TikTok. He's
Yes.
crushing it. I love his
Huge.
Luigi hat. I'm not sure if you saw, he just did a podcast a couple of weeks ago with Stone Mountain. They did this little thing and they were talking about it, and he was telling like his whole story. And it really kind of blew me away what he was saying in the podcast, because he said that he started doing this Pennywise bit in gaming like over a year ago. And the first video that he did it, and it just like, it did nothing. It went to the death ether of nothing, which is YouTube. Like YouTube, I mean, it's like so easy for stuff to die on YouTube. It doesn't even make any sense. And then a buddy of his was like, you should post that old video on your TikTok, because he had some other videos he was doing and they were kind of catching on a little bit. And he was like, you should try that old video. And it like exploded, this Pennywise video. And so he said that he had all this just like unbelievable growth. I mean, he's getting millions of views on every video that he's doing. He's starting to dress like Pennywise. You know what I mean? Like he's doing, like he is all the way bought in, and he felt like he had built this brand up and done this whole thing in a way that like he had become so big that he couldn't fail, like the banks. You know what I mean? Like we're so big that
Here's my concern though. You have a gimmick now.
Yep.
That gimmick is who you are. You can't be anything else, because if you are, then it's not going to sell.
Well, he talked about it. So he got tired of doing Pennywise, and he felt like there's more to me than Pennywise. And so he started doing what he felt like was like the best content that he had ever done. And his numbers plummeted to the point that like, he was like, I'm done. Like it's over. It's over. Like there's nothing I can do anymore. And so he then, after like a couple of months of trying and like taking time and whatever, he starts doing Pennywise again, 15 million views again. Like it's up all over the place. And so like he said that he's learned from it and he's trying to figure out how to make it work. But like, that's the exact point that like he made the point you're making. Like if you get into gimmicks, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you're probably going to be stuck there. I'm going to be honest with you. I was joking with some friends of mine. I think it's a great idea, but I don't want to do it for the exact reason that we're talking about, you know, and since you're on the show and it's going to have unbelievable reach, now everyone's going to steal my idea. But apparently the rumor has it that before October 17th Halloween event on Warzone, there's going to be a Skeletor skin that comes out. And my immediate thought was, I'm going to get this Skeletor skin and go play solos. And when I down people and they're on the ground in front of me, I'm going to do the Skeletor meme like live. I'll be like, did you know that bees, and then kill them and be like, until next time, and run away. But I'm afraid.
Until next time.
Yeah, but then I'm afraid that like, you know.
I do a good Cobra Commander, man. I'm waiting for some G.I. Joe characters to go in there. Cobra, get up, Joes now. You know, like the old school G.I. Joes, man. I'm like, dude, you should go for it, man. I would dress as Skeletor. I would wear a skeleton suit.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't want to be a gimmick. Like, I don't like, you know, like I think like doing it like as like a haha lol thing is great. But like I don't know. I'm trying to find my way. I gotta find a way to tap into some secret sauce of my own and really get it going.
If you weren't able to come up with your own gimmick, like your own version, perfect example, Dr. Disrespect. That's a gimmick, but that's an original
100%.
It's not something that's already been done. It's an original gimmick. So you can be that. So if you can come up with something, I got my catchphrase. My catchphrases work with basically everything. Yeah. And if I catch anybody doing it, I'll call you guys out on it. I'm like, well, that
me.
TikTok looked real familiar. No,
that's me.
The difference between you is that you're like, yo, I'm going to do this. And you're going to take it. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do it. All right. But other people, like, so the biggest thing that I've noticed is the people who, I said, make your own content, make it your own way. The people who are just mimicking my whole style of content. And I'm like, okay, well, that video that I made got 30,000 views, but yours got 100,000 and it looks exactly like my video. And it's got the same type of intro and same type of flash. So are you mimicking me because you like my content, or are you mimicking me because you want my content?
Because you think it works. So, dude, look, we're taking up a bunch of your time. I appreciate you being here with us. I appreciate you getting the whole thing going. Dude. Talk to me about, like, where is this going? I mean, like I said, we've seen it go from, like, when I was doing football content, they called it new media. All of the mainstream media people were horrified of us, and now 15 years later, I look back and I'm like, I know why you're scared of us, because we've changed. Like, we've changed the world. And again, that Tucker Carlson thing, it's proof of the pudding. Like, we're not going back. My son does not care about broadcast television.
No,
he wants to go watch whoever's streaming. And
My
and
kids don't know what TV is. They don't have cable boxes in their bedroom.
they're just
They stream
monitors now.
everything.
It's just monitors. It's a phone, it's an iPad, it's a TV screen that's being used as a monitor for him to like beam his gameplay to or whatever it is. It's all completely and totally changed. And now COVID happened, and then the movie theater industry fell apart and everything became
Tanked.
direct to streaming. Like everything
Tanked.
We've got such this opportunity to like reach out with our content. Don't give me your sauce away, but tell me, like, how are streamers, how are young streamers, how are, now I mean like young in age, I mean like
You know
young
what I've
too.
noticed?
How do you do it?
When it comes to you being a streamer, I don't recommend hitting that stream button, because if you're going to stream, somebody's already done it and they got way more viewers than you. So it's going to kill your morale. It's going to put you in a funk. You're like, I don't want to do this crap. Why am I doing this? I'm wasting all this time. Now, for an older person like you and I, who have major responsibilities, who, 9 to 5,
Mortgages, families,
kids, mortgage. I'm a little league coach for fall baseball. We got practices during the week. We got games during the week. It's just a lot. And I'm like, all right, I work my 9 to 5. I do practice. I go to the gym. I stream from 9 to like 12 in the morning. And then from 12 in the morning to like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm creating content. And it's a lot.
It's a ton.
For me, I started backwards. I wish I had this advice now, because TikTok wants 3 things. They want 3 things. They want you to teach something. They want you to be viral, or teach something in the process that's being viral or something. So, for example, education sells on TikTok now because they got the STEM option. The viral stuff like stupidity or, this. Sex doesn't sell on TikTok anymore. You can have the greatest body in the world, but you're not going to sell. They don't care about that. They're pushing that away. And then if you're being informative, if you're playing a video game and you're teaching the video game, then they want you to teach somebody how to do it. I can show you the best gameplays in the world, but if I'm not showing you how to do it, then TikTok doesn't care. And that's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on the 3 things TikTok wants. I'm using 2 to my advantage: educate and entertain.
It's working for you, my guy. I mean, again, you're crushing it. Your account's been out. It's been open for 2 months. Where are you at?
2 months. 2 months to the date. I am officially at. Give me a second. I want to make sure this is accurate. I don't want to give you the wrong number. Okay, I think I'm at 18,000 followers as of today.
That's insane.
As when we were talking,
that's
I was
insane.
At 17.9.
That is insane to me.
17.9 as we were talking, so it just hit 18,000 followers.
Insane.
I think on a daily, I get about 100 followers a day.
You completely broke the system of what should have worked, and you're finding incredible success. And you know what? Honestly, I think we can say, oh, it's about algorithm nursing. Like you can say it's about algorithm nursing. You say it's about all these things. I mean, honestly, the reality of it is, I say it this way. I don't want to be offensive, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's not the arrow. It's the Indian.
I want to make this into a career. I decided that I want to, and I know the consequences that has to take, that I have to make, the sacrifices that I have to make in order to make this a career. And I can't do that if I'm streaming all the time, because I'm giving away the content that I could be using for a video live on a stream. And then I have to go back into the stream, find it. It's not at the right quality. Doesn't look the same. I got to do all this extra editing where I could just, hit the record button, keep on moving, and cut it and paste it later. I
think you're like me. You I like the production value of it.
I want to make sure that when you're watching this, you're visually impressed. And I'm a horrible game player. Like Call of Duty, my 0% shooting rates. It's horrible. But when I made those videos, I didn't care there was millions of people out there. I made those videos because I thought that they looked good and I thought you would like them. So that's why I made them that way. So same thing with Cyberpunk. I looked for the beauty in the game. I talked about what's important about the game and what kept me attracted. And people started to be like, well, yeah, you're right. That game did have that.
I appreciate you, buddy. I appreciate you coming on and doing this, because I think there's a lot of people that are going to love to hear this. And I will tell you this too. In the middle of you saying this is your first podcast, dude, you should just do your own. Like just
No, I don't have time for that, man. Come on now. I'm trying to dominate TikTok here. I can't make my own podcast.
You're killing it. You're killing it. Thank you so much to Damn Daniel Games for being with us, man. Tell everybody where they can find you. I mean, we're talking all about your stuff, but we didn't tell them where to get you.
Well, it's just find me on TikTok right now. TikTok and Twitch. It's I was about to say it's Damn Daniel, but it's not. It's Damn Daniel _games. That's it on TikTok and on Twitch. That's where I'll be. If you guys have any questions on how to do some editing, talk to me. I got you.
Let's do it, man. Appreciate you being here. Look, we've got so much more in this show. We're going to be joined by a couple of guys in Respawn Recruits. Daniel, you'll love this. So they've been announcing every Tuesday the cut downs, right? And we went from like 450 or 500 people, then they cut down to like 300, then they did 250, 200. Like, you know how it goes. They're cutting 50 every week. So we went from 100 to 50 this week. And what they've been doing is they've been just like at 2 o'clock on Tuesday, here's the list of people that made it. And then this week when they cut to 50, this is the first like real, like, we're separating the men from the boys right now when you're getting into these cuts. And they're like, we're going to announce 5 people every 10 minutes until
the final survivor.
Yeah. And so they grouped us up in these guys. And so what they did was they basically made a team out of the groups, and the people that we got announced with, we've been doing collabs with this week. And so those guys jumped on the podcast today too. You're going to hear them next. We're talking about some of the same stuff. Look, we're just really identifying what's working for people in social media, what the industry is seeing out of streamers and content creators and all that kind of stuff. Daniel, appreciate your time, man. Phenomenal stuff. Phenomenal stuff. You had nothing to be nervous about, dude. It was fantastic. So thanks for being with us. Appreciate you being here, Daniel. Yeah. Look, guys, we're so glad to have had Daniel on with us. We're so glad to have you here. Just keep it locked in, man. We got more great content on the podcast coming up next. I've got really lucky to be a part of a competition with Respawn Products. They're actually the chair company for the chair that I'm sitting in right now. And they make chairs and desks and all sorts of things. But they've done this really cool thing where they've cultivated community over the last several years, building this competition where they look to partner with new streamers and give new streamers and new content creators really an opportunity to build their audience, to build their market, and to really find community. And so I'm lucky enough to have just found out this last week that we made it into the top 50. If you follow me on Twitter, then you have no doubt seen all the Respawn Recruits posts over the last 6 or 7 weeks. And Tyler really did a good job this week of making sure he gave all of us as many heart attacks as he absolutely could. And they broke us up into teams of 5 and made 10 announcements over the course of what felt like 17 hours. And then they told us that the teams of the groups of 5 that we were announced with were actually going to be teams that we were working with for this week, and need to do some collaborations. And so for this segment on the This Is the Ray podcast this week, I'm really excited to have the survivors of the top 50 Respawn cut down day last week. I got my guy Brinks, my guy Kiz, and my guy Raw, who's all joining us from the Respawn Recruits top 50. Guys, congratulations on top 50.
Thank you. Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
I'm excited to be here.
Offline, while we were prepping for the recording, prepping for the show, we were talking about everyone's journeys, and they're all so different, and they're all so like really cool in their own way. I want to start with Kiz, just to give us a little background on you, because Kiz is like the younger of the group. I'm the elder of the group. Kiz is like, it's insane because he's like he's a bebe. Like he's so like he's so young, and I don't mean that like in a disrespectful way. Like it's incredible that you're doing like I'm competing at 38 years old. I'm 20 years older than you, and like I'm competing with you in the same thing. So just talk to me about it, man. Like as the younger of the group, like, I remember the first YouTube video someone ever sent me. Like I remember when YouTube did not exist. The first YouTube video I ever saw, someone was like, go to this website, it's called YouTube, and search Leprechaun, Alabama. And it was the leprechaun. Do you guys even know the leprechaun in the tree where the news reporters it was like St. Patrick's Day and they were looking for a leprechaun. The guy's like, anybody see a leprechaun? Say yeah. And there's like all these people like hunting leprechauns. Did anyone ever see that? Or am I just really old? I'm really old.
I've seen that.
I have not, no.
It's the first YouTube video.
Just looking at cat videos.
Yeah, first YouTube video. So for you kids, I would imagine that you've always known YouTube. Like
Um,
it's pretty much always
yeah.
been there.
Pretty much, yeah. No, I've grown up with it, definitely. It's just kind of the something like when I was in school and like they were asking like the kids, what do you want to do when you grow up and stuff like that. No, like if you said you wanted to be like a YouTuber, you'd be shunned because everybody wanted to. Like that was the like nerdy kid thing to do. That was my like school like thing. It's much different from like what you guys have gone through. So yeah, it's just I've basically always grown up with it for sure.
So talk to us a little bit about your journey. You said that you were going through school. When you grew up, you knew you wanted to be a content creator. And I want to preface this again as the old guy. This is the way that I see it. You guys tell me if you see it a different way. There were social media accounts, and for me, we were bloggers. Like even though like we were hosting podcasts and stuff, like we were referred to as bloggers. I did have a blog. We knew that writing our articles would be like what carried people to build the audience to get them to our podcast, which is what I really wanted to do, was podcast and host stuff like this. But we were bloggers. Some of us, and most of us, I think, started this thing out as like gamer streamers, and that's kind of evolved into the difference in being a streamer and being a content creator. So talk to me, kids, just a little bit about that. I mean, really, all of you guys can jump in. We can argue and like turn this into a whole TDM battle royal thing and like just kill each other as we're trying to talk. But like, you know, talk to me a little bit about that from your point of view, where it's been, because it's obviously very different than what my experience was.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, yeah, no, when I grew up, I mean, I was watching those gaming content creator YouTubers. That was my childhood. So, of course, yeah, when I wanted to start making content, I first started with the OBS run and play Minecraft, like one like not really content, just playing games and uploading it without anything. But yeah, no, I really first got into like streaming back like 2017-ish on Beam, formerly known as Mixer, which was very much fun. Still one of my favorite platforms, I think, like the favorite, because it was just the best for me.
Was it like the interface? Was it the community? Like, what was it that made Mixer stand up?
There was so many good parts of it. FTL, which is it's faster than light. Basically, there's zero stream delay on any streams. It is like sub-millisecond delay. It was insane. They also had something called Mix Play, which is like a customizable board that you could have below your stream, which just allowed you to make a game that, like an interactive game that people could press buttons or
like while you were streaming.
Yeah, it's like extensions, but actually customizable instead of just download. It was pretty cool.
Gotcha. So he got to start on Mixer, which RIP Mixer. Yeah. Thank you, Ninja, for dragging them into the ground with your contract. Appreciate
Ninja
that.
And Shroud. Yeah, they just killed it.
Brinks, Raw, talk to me about it. Like, where'd you guys get your start? Like, you know,
I honestly, I started making content when I was 15, and that was around the time the New York Phase House was a thing. And I kind of just got inspired by them and started making Call of Duty cut comms that probably like 10 people watched. And over time, I just learned. And I did my very first stream actually on YouTube. And I think that was 2019-ish, maybe 2018.
Okay.
And I streamed on there for a really long time before eventually switching to Twitch, and built an audience over there slowly but surely. Used TikTok and short form to kind of bring people over so they could discover the stream. And since then, I've kind of pivoted to just kind of going full force on YouTube, long form content. And now I'm experimenting with some short form content as well. But I'm just a editing, storytelling nerd. So that's what I
like
do.
It. Raw, hit us, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I also started just doing YouTube videos here and there. Wasn't pretty consistent until 3 years ago, later on this month. You know, I'm right around my 3-year stream anniversary, where I just have been on Twitch, been spending time on there. It's been really good. And it's funny that that Brinks had just mentioned the New York FaZe Clan. I just received a raid like 2 weeks ago from FaZe Zuma for about 961 viewers.
Wow,
Definitely one of the biggest highlights of my whole stream
that's awesome.
thing. So
What were you playing?
yeah, it's cool. I was playing Apex Legends.
Nice.
That's usually what I always play. That's my main game, and I've been a day one player. Still hoping for cross progression, so I continue to play on Xbox until I can transfer everything over to PC.
Here's one of the things I think is really interesting about the three of you guys. Almost every one of you have flip flopped from where you started. Like, and I'm not saying that you're not still doing aspects of it, because I think, like I said, this content creator thing is really become multifaceted. As content creators, we're streamers, we're graphic designers, we're video editors, we're podcasters, we're vloggers, we're everything. You know, we're let's just go live on Instagram, or let's just go live on TikTok, and let's whatever. It's so funny. I did a TikTok yesterday and a tweet video talking about my love-hate relationship with Call of Duty, and I just pulled my phone out in the car, and my wife was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I just had an idea. I got to record this." You know, and like, that's just kind of like what we found. But like, Kiz started out wanting to be a YouTuber and still does do YouTubing. And I think you still do some editing and all those sorts of things. But I know you mainly as a streamer, you know, and Brinks kind of started out as a streamer, and now he said his focus is more long form, you know, and Raw also kind of the same thing. Like, you started out doing YouTube videos. I think you said you're doing like food prep videos.
Correct. I was doing food prep videos, then 100 videos of gaming. And then I bought a house and I did a house renovation videos. And at that point, that's when my channel took off.
What?
Partnered in like a week or two.
Talk to me about took off. Like, what are your guys' communities like?
Sure. So my communities are really varied depending on the platform. If it comes to YouTube right now, I have 100 Apex videos. Just nothing ever took off. I just couldn't find a space. I was consistent with it, but I just
couldn't. I know those are long or short form.
So, those are long, you know, well, like 8 minutes to 10, 15 max. But then I purchased a house in February of this year. It was trashed. I walked around, recorded everything, recorded myself cleaning it up. I actually took off like a week and a half of PTO from work, cleaned it up, started painting walls, started doing everything. The channel instantly blew up. I think I have like 94,000, then 60, then 40, then 12.
Wow.
And then
Wow.
every update was like, yeah, first paycheck was amazing because I got partnered like in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And that's like 4,000 view hours or something.
Congrats on that.
But if I was to ever upload a single gaming video on that, it's going to flop. I can tell you right now. That's just not the same community, and it's such a struggle. Everything else is cool.
Have you guys, Kiz and Brinks, have you guys kind of seen similar into like the niches in your creation, or do you feel like whatever you do sticks?
I mean, yeah, I've seen the same thing happen. I mean, I have one random video that I got from PAX East that was gaming, or it was like beta gameplay of just a random game, and then I uploaded it, and it just got like 20,000, 30,000 views. But I mean, I tried posting more videos about that game, and then it also just kind of declined from there. I mean, it still got views, but it didn't get like, it was weird how it was just one video that got like a lot of attention, which pumped up the other videos of the same level, but it didn't like stick, I guess.
I think when you're starting out, unless you're 100% certain at what you're planning on doing is going to succeed, I think it's important to just do what you're passionate about, and it can be a variety of things until something sticks. And once that thing sticks, as long as it's something that you actually enjoy, like, you have to run with it. Because if you get like a boost of subscribers and it's on like Ross said, a house renovation video, and you get a bunch of subscribers from that, and then you post a gaming video, like, they're going to get recommended it, but they're probably not going to click on it. And if they do, they're probably not going to watch it for long.
And then the algorithm just chokes you to death.
Yeah, it's just killed the video, and then people unsubscribe. So, you know, I think it's just very important to pick the right niche. And like for me, I did I did Call of Duty, then Fortnite, then Valorant. And even within Valorant, the videos I make now weren't the videos I was making a year ago or 2 years ago in Valorant. It was still within the Valorant niche, but it was a different niche within the niche.
The niches have become these, again, like we talked about, sub communities. They're like sub communities of sub communities. And like I'll just tell on myself, like, and you guys may or may not know this, like I think I'm wildly unsuccessful right now in social media anymore. Like my Twitter is great. I've got 6,000 and some odd followers, which is very small compared to like obviously some of the bigger guys. Like that's the crazy thing for me about this whole competition. I cannot believe that after a cut, I've made it back into the top 50. And like, I think I've got 75 subscribers on Kick and like 160 on Twitch. Like that's, my community is like at 0. But this competition has changed that for me. It's changed a lot for me. It's helped me grow community. It's helped me learn networking. It's helped me understand all those things I didn't understand before. What's it been like for you guys? Talk about what your community was before and what it's been since this Respawn competition.
My community before was, so I'm in this community called the NorCal community right now. I'm in a esports organization called NorCal Esports.
Because you're good at gaming, right?
Not necessarily.
Dude, I'm god awful. I'm not a good gamer.
I'm not amazing. I'm like very, very slightly above average, but nothing remarkable. I think the only thing that's benefited me is my ability to edit and put a story together and make an entertaining, engaging video. Like that's my strong suit. So I think before this, my community was kind of just them and that's it. And I didn't necessarily have a reason to reach outside of that, but just having this experience and meeting all these new people, like there's so many more people out there that I can collaborate with and teach and learn from and all that stuff. So that's just what I've kind of gained from this experience.
Yeah. So, you know, my community was also kind of like it was pretty non-existent. Especially
like you mean like literally like right up to Respawn or?
Yeah, pretty much right up to Respawn. I mean, I've had a couple people, but it's more like, you know, every once in a while someone will stop by. But it was pretty bad. I struggled with pretty much everything content wise, so I never really promoted my stream everywhere or like used like video content to expand my community. So it was pretty much only from like the content creators that I watched and like a couple people that came in and found me from there.
When I tell you that my community has been non-existent before this, I mean totally non-existent. You're saying it's a similar thing, but you're also quoting me that you have these big social media numbers on some videos. So how?
So before this competition, I mean, even now, but mainly before this competition, I wasn't really doing much for my own content. I was only streaming.
Okay.
Because all of my editing was put towards my clients instead of myself.
I get that.
And so I do, of course, have like the little link tree in the description, like the very bottom of the description. Go check out my editor. But it doesn't really do much.
Okay.
And so videos that I'll edit will do pretty well most of the time. But
stuff you do for yourself, not so much.
Yeah,
dude.
No.
It's the same. I get that. I get it all the way. So then my question is this: like, how would you say this competition has changed the way that you're approaching what you're doing for like the Kiz brand?
So with this competition, I've gotten so into collaborating with people. It's insane. Last week, the challenge was to collaborate with someone new.
Yep.
And I collaborated every single day that week with up to 4 to 5 other recruits.
How many videos did you make last week?
No, it was for stream, like every stream.
Okay.
And this week is spent mostly editing that stuff down because I didn't have time to edit that much because I was streaming.
Streaming so much, yeah.
Yeah, I think I streamed for like 25, 30 hours that last week, which for me is a lot.
What's your typical?
I mean, I stream like 4 days a week for like maybe 2 hours.
Okay.
Like that was my typical, but I streamed every day for like 4 to 5 hours.
Wow.
It was a lot. And so yeah, no, it was probably the funnest week content wise that I've actually done, because I just met so many cool people, and from the collabs it actually like I met a lot of new people in my community, because like when you collab with someone else and they're also live, a lot of the time their viewers will check out your stuff as well.
For sure.
And I've had a lot of people stick from that, surprisingly. Like I
Nice.
did not expect that.
Yeah. I have a friend named Martimer, and him and I, back when I said I started streaming on YouTube, he was also streaming on YouTube, and we would always be streaming together, and his community would come over to me, and mine, vice versa, would go to him. So that's like a perfect way to grow your streams.
So it seems like from both of you guys, you know, Brinks is saying he's kind of grown community. Kiz is saying he's grown his networking awareness kind of through this. And I think it's funny that you guys both say that, because we see it all the time. And like, you guys know Care Bear, right? You guys are aware when I say who Care Bear is. I don't want to assume that everyone knows everybody, because like I said, I learned real quick last Friday that I didn't know nearly the amount of people that I thought that I did. But she's been saying it on social media and her streams all the time. Like the partnership from Respawn, we're all stoked to have an opportunity to partner with a company like Respawn. Okay, like legitimately, I've bought and owned like 4 different Respawn chairs before this competition. That's the only reason I even know about this competition, is because I already own Respawn stuff. And the partnership would be fantastic. I think that the bragging rights of that are great. Being able to note that we're partnered with them while we're streaming and building content is great. But the real super win is like these relationships that we've all been able to build. And it seems like this is the first time that Respawn has had that result. I'm told, and this is my first year, so I can't speak to it.
I didn't have a lot of collaboration. I didn't actually make it that high in the previous years, although I was posting TikToks and doing outer stuff. I think I was just barely discovering a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe didn't have the whole format of camera on top and video on bottom or discussing a subject or anything.
Yeah.
So most of my stuff was just screen Xbox captures, because I was still on console then. It was very, very based down. So I feel like now I have a lot more to offer. And yeah, of course, the ability to collaborate with other individuals and get to know somebody in the community have really benefited me.
What is like the biggest win for you been about this competition? You know, what's the thing that you've either learned or gained? What has changed about your journey because of this Respawn Recruits competition in 2023?
I would immediately have to say it is the friendships, it is the relationships that have been made. Right away, once we started kind of discovering each other, we noticed that when you get into the Respawn Discord roles, everybody that picked Apex, I think the Apex players immediately started kind of like picking each other out, getting to know each other, and just started visiting each other's streams. I have some gentlemen that have already come to my streams, and we've already even played, whether if it's within collaboration, outside of collaboration, and also just genuinely met some great people. It's been kind of bittersweet because some of these individuals that I've collaborated with didn't get to make it to the top 50.
Yeah.
Even though I felt like a lot of this stuff that they were putting out was really valuable. But it's just something that, you know, has kind of torn me inside. But at the same time, I understand that I can't spend it like, you know, kind of whimpering. I can't spend it with my head down.
Yeah, because you'll get cut next. Like,
yeah, I'll get cut next, and then they're going to be like, well, you're just going to be worried, you know, I wish I could trade places with them, but they're also going to be like, no, do this for yourself, don't worry about us, you know. And I think that's where it wraps down to, is we're keeping your mind clear through all of this.
Well, look, I think you guys are cool creators. I'm really glad to have got to meet you. Brinks, I apologize for dragging you down in Valorant, and Kiz, I apologize for dragging you down in Valorant the other night. You know,
it was fine.
We had a good time. I'm sure we'll see those videos out. This podcast is going to release obviously before the weekend's over, so we can make sure that we can submit it for our collaborations and all those sorts of things. But appreciate you guys being on with us. Appreciate your time. You guys are legends. I wish you as much luck as I can afford to wish you in the competition moving forward. Like, I wish
you as well, man.
Thank you to you as well.
I mean, like, and honestly, like,
Absolutely.
I really do mean this. At this point, with as far as we've all gotten, like, I'm cheering on as many of you guys as I absolutely can. Like, I want to see everybody succeed. I want to see people pull the Jazzberry card. Like, maybe they get cut top 50 and they still find themselves partnering with Respawn. Like, I'm rooting for all you guys, watching you guys, trying to get as much of your content consumed. I really did feel bad. I'm like, man, I haven't had a chance to watch all your guys' content yet to get super familiar. But I promise you, that's going to be on the docket as we move forward. Appreciate you guys being here. These guys, it's been Respawn Recruits Top 50. It's like a survivor pool collaboration of Doom for Halloween. It's been good to have you guys on. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on the very first episode of the This is the Ray podcast. I had a blast. Big thanks to Damn Daniel Games and all the homies from Respawn Recruits, Brinks and Kiz and Raw. You guys are legends. Glad to have had you on. Look, this is just the beginning. This is the Ray podcast is coming back at you soon, so keep it dialed in on all of our social media, our Twitch, our TikToks, all those things. Check us out at This is the Ray or This is the Ray Gaming. Until next time, we will see you later.